Here are your business priorities for this coming week, week commencing 17th of May 2020. I'm not going to go into detail on each of these because we have actually covered them in previous videos. And if you're watching this on jacobaldridge.com or on YouTube, we'll put up some links to the specific chapters of those previous presentations where we talk about each of these. In many countries around the world, lockdown is beginning to end. In some countries, like Hong Kong, it has already ended. Here where I am in Australia, I can now, by the time you're watching this, officially go to a cafe, sit down and have a coffee again. Hallelujah. I'm actually surprised that lockdown restrictions are also being eased in the UK and the US. When we have a look at those numbers about active cases still growing in those countries. However, there is definitely political pressure. And when we get into why the coronavirus recession is different, we're going to talk a little bit about the effect. You can turn off the lockdown rules. That doesn't necessarily mean that people will open up the economy. But for your business, as lockdown ends, what is it that you need to do to prepare? And again, if you have been following every week, you may have already done many of these things. It's just a matter of reviewing them for the reality of what the next week, the next month is going to look like for you. So reviewing your cash flow forecasts. Was the impact of the respond phase as deep as you expected? Was it not? Was it perhaps, as I've seen with some businesses who really expected to see revenue drop by 20, 30% and are actually having record months? And that's why we put in that cash flow forecast very, very early on, that potential upside just in case. So review the cash flow forecasts and the decisions you had to make if you hit certain levels. Talk to your war cabinet. This is now your expanded war cabinet that we discussed last week, particularly those advisors with recession experience, so that you don't get ahead of yourself, and similarly, you don't get caught behind. Call your clients. Again, hopefully you've been keeping in touch with your existing clients, your alumni clients, perhaps some prospects that were floating around when the coronavirus recession started. Calling them again, and I use the word calling quite deliberately to talk about getting on the phone, having those conversations. How are they going? If you're starting to come through this, are they in a similar point? If you're stuck, are they ahead? Are they behind? Learning that information, getting a feel for that, reminding them that you exist. Do you need to transform your product? Again, I had a presentation going through exactly how to do that, how to identify that. The last point there, which is not a question mark, it's an exclamation point, is how have you transformed your sales process? So those are your priorities this week. If you haven't done any of them previously, possibly more than a week's worth going on, but that's the order that I would encourage you to do it. Review your cash flow forecasts, chat with your war cabinet, keep calling your clients, ask yourself, do I need to transform my product right now? And ask yourself, what are the things that I'm definitely doing to transform my sales process?